A young Lakota warrior stands alone on a windswept prairie, clutching a blood-stained arrow as thunder growls in the distance. Koda whispers, "Why did you choose me, grandmother?" His eyes search the darkening sky as if the answer hides in the storm. In 1890, on the sacred plains of Dakota, one promise bound a restless hunter to a dying elder's wish. But what secret was so powerful it could reshape a man's destiny and save his people's heart? The Dakota Plains in 1890, a land of endless grass and rolling hills where the wind carries the whispers of ancestors. This is Lakota territory, a sacred place caught in a tense dance with encroaching settlers. Every sunrise paints the sky with hope, but shadows of change loom large, threatening the balance of a people rooted in the earth. For the Lakota life is a song of harmony with nature. They see the spirit in every tree, every stone, every buffalo thundering across the plains. Their community thrives on respect for elders whose wisdom lights the path through hardship. Stories told around glowing campfires pass down lessons of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond between the people and their land. Imagine teepees dotting the horizon, their soft glow flickering under a starlit sky. Elders chant softly, their voices blending with the crackle of fire, calling to the spirits for guidance. This is a world where the earth speaks, where every rustling leaf holds a tale waiting to be heard. But only those who truly listen can uncover its truth. This is the stage for our story, a tale of one young warrior and the elder who saw his heart. In a time of uncertainty, their bond will test the strength of Lakota wisdom and reveal what it means to protect what is sacred. Welcome to the Whisper of the Willow. Meet Koda, a 20-year-old Lakota hunter with sharp eyes and a restless heart. His bow is steady, his aim true, but his spirit wanders. After losing his parents in a brutal settler raid, Koda feels like a stranger to his tribe's ancient traditions. He tracks deer through the Dakota Plains, searching for something he cannot name, a purpose to fill the emptiness within. Then there is Tala, a 70-year-old Lakota medicine woman, her face etched with the wisdom of countless winters. Revered by her people, she mixes herbs by the river, her hands steady, despite the illness, stealing her strength. Tala carries a heavy secret about a sacred valley, a truth so vital it binds her fading life to the future of her tribe. Her eyes see what others miss, and in Koda she glimpses a spark of hope. Koda's friend, Matto, a Lakota warrior, brings laughter to the campfire with his quick jokes and warm smile. Loyal and strong, he clings to the old ways, believing the spirits guide every step. Across the camp, Juanita, a bold Cheyenne trader's daughter, arrives with her father's wagon, her curious gaze catching Koda's attention. Her fearless spirit and stories of distant lands stir something new in him. Koda was a man of the hunt, but his heart drifted like smoke. Tala saw what no one else did, a young man destined to carry her people's dreams. As their paths cross under the Dakota stars, these four souls will weave a story of courage, trust, and the power of listening to the whispers of the land. On a stormy night in 1890, the Dakota Plains tremble under the weight of a restless sky. Rain drums against the teepees of the Lakota camp, and lightning cracks like a whip, casting fleeting shadows across the land. Inside her teepee, Tala, the revered medicine woman, sits by a small fire, her frail hands trembling as she clutches a carved willow pendant. The air feels heavy, charged with a purpose that hums like the distant thunder. She has sent for Koda, the young hunter, whose heart she knows better than he does himself. Koda steps into the teepee, his clothes damp from the storm, his dark eyes wary. The firelight dances across Tala's weathered face, revealing lines carved by years of wisdom and sorrow. She looks at him not with the stern gaze of an elder, but with a softness that catches him off guard. Without a word, she presses the willow pendant into his palm, its smooth surface warm against his skin. It is small, no bigger than a coin, etched with delicate lines that seem to pulse with a story of their own. Koda's breath catches as he feels its weight, not in his hand, but in his soul. Tala's voice, though weak, carries the strength of the earth itself. The willow speaks to those who listen. Koda. "Will you hear it?" she asks, her eyes searching his. Koda's heart pounds. He glances at the pendant, then back at her, confusion clouding his face. "I'm no elder. Why me?" he says, his voice barely above a whisper, raw with doubt. Tala leans closer, her gaze unwavering. She tells him of a hidden valley, a sacred burial ground, where their ancestors rest, where the spirits of the Lakota linger in the rustling leaves and flowing streams. Settlers hungry for land are coming to claim it, to tear apart what is holy. She needs Koda to protect it, to stand as its guardian. Her words land like stones in still water, rippling through Koda's mind. Tala reveals a truth that makes his chest tighten. She is dying. Her time is slipping away, and she has chosen him, a restless hunter, with no claim to wisdom, to carry this burden. Koda's hands tremble as he grips the pendant, his thoughts a storm of fear and unworthiness. He is no leader, no keeper of sacred things. He is just a man who lost his family, who hunts to silence the ache in his heart. Why would the spirits choose him? Why would Tala, with all her knowledge, place such faith in someone so lost? Outside, lightning illuminates the night, casting Tala's face in a fleeting glow, her eyes shining with a fierce, quiet hope. She reaches out her hand, resting on Koda's arm, steady as the roots of a willow tree. "The valley is not just earth," she says. "It is our story, our strength, our home. You are not chosen because you are ready. Koda, you are chosen because you are willing to try." Her words pierce him, stirring something deep within, a flicker of courage he did not know he had. He looks at the pendant again, its carving seeming to whisper in the firelight, calling him to a path he cannot yet see. In that moment, the teepee feels like a sacred space, the storm outside, a chorus of spirits urging him forward. Koda's throat tightens as he meets Tala's gaze, seeing not just an elder, but a grandmother passing her heart to a son of her people. He wants to protest, to say he cannot do this, but her faith in him is a weight he cannot push away. The valley, the settlers, the spirits, all of it feels too big, too heavy for a man who doubts his own worth. Yet Tala's voice lingers gentle but unyielding, like the wind that carries the willow's song. As Koda steps back into the rain, the pendant clutched tightly in his hand, he feels the world shift beneath his feet. Tala's request is no simple task. It is a call to become something greater, to stand for his people, when he barely knows how to stand for himself. The storm rages on, but inside Koda, a quieter storm brews, one of fear, doubt, and the faint stirrings of purpose. He is not ready, or so he thinks. But the willow has spoken, and its whisper will guide him to a destiny he never imagined. The dawn breaks soft over the Dakota plains, painting the grass gold as Koda sets out for the hidden valley, the willow pendant heavy in his pocket. Tala's words echo in his mind, her cryptic instructions guiding him like a faint star in the morning sky. "Follow the river where the heron dances," she had said, "and the willow will show you the way." Koda rides alone, his horse's hooves drumming a steady rhythm against the earth, his heart a tangle of hope and doubt. The valley is out there, a sacred place he has never seen, and he wonders if he is chasing a dream or a duty he cannot fulfill. The river leads him to a narrow path where willows bend low, their branches brushing the water like fingers, tracing a memory. Koda dismounts, his breath catching as he steps into the valley. It is a quiet place where the air feels alive, humming with the whispers of those who came before. Ancient willow trees stand like sentinels, their trunks carved with symbols that spiral and twist, telling stories older than the hills. Koda touches one, his fingers tracing the grooves, and feels a shiver, as if the tree knows him. Tala spoke of a prophecy, a listener who would save the land, And these carvings seem to pulse with that promise, but Koda, with his restless heart and calloused hands, cannot imagine himself as that chosen one. Back at the Lakota camp, danger stirs like smoke on the wind. Koda visits a trading post with Matto, his friend's laughter, a welcome light in the heavy days. There, among barrels of flour and stacks of furs, Koda overhears a group of settlers, their voices sharp with greed. A land baron, a man with cold eyes and a silver tongue, speaks of mining the valley, of ripping its heart for profit. They do not know it is sacred, that it holds the bones of Lakota ancestors, the stories of a people. Koda's blood runs cold as he listens, hidden behind a crate, the pendant burning against his chest. The settlers' rifles gleam in the sunlight, and their plans are set for the next moon. Time is slipping away, and Koda feels the weight of a fight he is not ready to face. That night by the fire, Koda sits with Tala, her frail form wrapped in a blanket, her eyes bright despite the illness stealing her breath. She senses his fear, his doubt, and speaks in a voice soft as a lullaby. The earth is not ours to own, Koda, but ours to protect. Every step you take is a prayer. She teaches him to listen, not just with his ears, but with his heart, to the wind that carries secrets, to the stars that map the way, to the animals that speak in their quiet movements. Koda tries closing his eyes, feeling the pulse of the world around him, but his mind drifts to his failures, to the family he could not save. To the elder he fears he will disappoint. Tala's hand finds his, her touch grounding him. "You do not need to be perfect," she says. "You only need to be here." Juanita, the Cheyenne trader's daughter, becomes a spark in Koda's shadowed days of one evening. Under a sky blazing with stars, she sits with him by the river, her bold laughter easing his burdens. She shares stories of her people, tales of warriors who faced impossible odds with nothing but courage and a song. "My grandmother said bravery is not the absence of fear." Juanita tells him, her eyes catching the starlight, but the choice to walk through it. Koda listens, his heart stirring, and for the first time he wonders if he could be more than a hunter, more than a man haunted by loss. Juanita's words linger, a gentle push toward the strength he does not yet believe he has. Matto, ever loyal, joins Koda on scouting missions, riding through the plains to watch the settlers' movements. His humor lights the way, his jokes about clumsy buffalo or stubborn horses coaxing smiles from Koda even in the darkest moments. But Matto's face grows serious when he speaks of the settlers' firepower, their rifles and dynamite that could shatter the valley in a single day. "We need more than courage, brother," Matto says, his voice low. "We need a plan." Koda nods, but his thoughts are a storm, torn between Tala's teachings and the reality of the threat. He feels unworthy, a boy pretending to be a guardian, carrying a pendant that feels heavier with every step. As the days pass, Koda returns to the valley, drawn to its quiet power. He kneels by a willow, pressing his hand to the earth, and listens, just as Tala taught him. The wind sighs, the leaves rustle, and for a fleeting moment he feels a connection, a whisper of the ancestors urging him forward, but doubt creeps back, cold and sharp, telling him he is not enough, that he will fail. Tala, the valley, his people. He thinks of his parents, their faces fading in his memory, and wonders if they would believe in him. The valley holds secrets older than time. Its carvings, a map to a prophecy Koda cannot fully grasp, but danger is closing in a shadow growing darker with each sunrise. Koda rides back to camp, the pendant a steady weight against his heart, Tala's words a fragile light in his mind. Juanita's stories of bravery, Matto's warnings, and the valley's whispers all swirl together, pulling him toward a path he cannot avoid. He is not a warrior, not an elder, not a hero, but he is here, and that is where his journey begins. The settlers are coming, their greed a blade aimed at the heart of the Lakota, and Koda must find a way to stand tall, to listen, to protect what is sacred. The valley waits its secrets humming in the wind, and Koda wonders if he can learn to hear its truth before it is too late. The moon hangs low over the Dakota plains, bathing the hidden valley in a silver glow. As Koda stands at its edge, his heart pounding like a war drum, the night is still, but tension crackles in the air, sharp as the scent of rain. He has come alone, the willow pendant warm against his chest, to face the settlers who threaten the sacred burial ground. Their camp is just beyond the ridge, a cluster of tents and wagons, their lanterns flickering like hungry eyes. Koda takes a deep breath, Tala's teachings echoing in his mind. Speak with the strength of the earth, but listen with the heart of the wind. He steps forward unarmed, his hands open, hoping words can save what swords cannot. The settlers gather their faces hard, their rifles glinting in the moonlight. At their center stands the land baron, a man with a sharp suit and sharper eyes, his smile cold as winter frost. Koda speaks, his voice steady, despite the fear clawing at his chest. He tells them of the valley of the ancestors who rest there, of the spirits that weave through its willows. This land is not yours to take. He says, his words carrying the weight of Tala's wisdom. It is a story, a prayer, a home. Leave it in peace, and no blood will spill. The settlers murmur some shifting uneasily, but the baron laughs, a harsh sound that cuts through the night like a blade. Peace, he sneers. Your valley's already mine. One of your own sold its secrets for gold. Koda's blood runs cold, his mind reeling, a traitor among the Lakota. The baron's eyes gleam with cruel delight as he gestures to the shadows. A figure steps forward, head bowed, shoulders heavy with shame. It is Matto, Koda's friend, the man who laughed with him by campfires, who rode beside him through the plains. The crowd parts, and Matto stands alone, his face etched with pain, his hands trembling as he clutches a blood-stained arrow. Koda's heart twists, betrayal sinking into him like a stone. The baron's voice drips with mockery. He told us where to find your precious valley. All it took was a pouch of coins to save his dying sister. The settlers laugh, but Koda cannot hear them over the roar in his ears, the shattering of trust he thought unbreakable. Matto falls to his knees, his voice breaking as he speaks. Koda, I didn't want this, he says, tears streaking his face. My sister, she's all I have left. The medicine, it cost more than I could ever earn. I thought I could save her, but I was wrong. He holds out the arrow, its tip stained dark, and his words tumble out like a confession to the spirits. I stopped their ambush last night. Koda, I couldn't let them hurt you. I betrayed the valley, but I couldn't betray you. The arrow trembles in his hand, a symbol of his guilt, his desperation, his love for his family. Koda stares at it, his chest tight, his mind a storm of anger and sorrow. Matto, his brother, in all but blood, has torn their world apart for a handful of gold. The settlers watch their rifles ready, the baron's smile widening as he senses division. Koda's hands clench the pendant pressing into his palm, and Tala's voice rises in his memory, soft but unyielding. Forgiveness is the hardest hunt, but the truest victory. He looks at Matto, at the man who shared his laughter, who stood by him in the dark, who made a terrible choice to save someone he loved. Koda's anger burns, but beneath it, he feels the ache of understanding the weight of a truth. Tala taught him, no one is perfect, but everyone is human. He steps forward, his boots crunching on the earth, and kneels before Matto, meeting his friend's tear-filled eyes. I should hate you. Koda says, his voice low, raw with emotion. You broke my trust, broke our people's heart. But I see you, Matto. I see your pain, your love for your sister. I see the man who stopped an ambush to save me. He takes the blood-stained arrow, its weight heavy in his hand, and sets it gently on the ground. I forgive you, he says, the words trembling, but true. Each one a step through the storm in his soul. Mato sobs his head, bowing, and Koda pulls him into an embrace, holding him as the moonlight washes over them, the valley glowing like a silent witness to their bond. The settlers shift uncertain, the Baron's smile faltering as he senses the moment slipping from his grasp. Koda rises, his eyes fierce, the pendant gleaming against his chest. He turns to the Baron, his voice steady as the earth beneath his feet. "You have your gold, but you'll never have this valley. Leave now, or face the spirits who guard it." The words carry a power he did not know. He had a strength born of forgiveness, of Tala's wisdom, of the love that binds him to his people. The valley seems to hum, its willows swaying in the night breeze, as if the ancestors themselves stand with him. Betrayal cut deeper than any blade, but Koda's choice to forgive Mato was a victory greater than any battle. The valley, bathed in moonlight, holds its breath, its secret still safe for now, but the fight is not over, and Koda's soul, tested by pain and lifted by mercy, will decide the fate of the land he has sworn to protect. The Baron's eyes narrow, the settlers' rifles gleam, and Koda stands tall, ready for whatever comes next, the whisper of the Willow guiding his heart. The Dakota plains breathe quietly under a sky streaked with dawn's first light, but Koda's heart races as he gathers with Juanita and a handful of trusted Lakota scouts near the hidden valley. The settlers, emboldened by their Baron's greed, are preparing to march on the sacred land, their wagons loaded with tools to tear the earth apart. Koda clutches the willow pendant, its warmth steadying him, and Tala's teachings rise like a song in his soul. "The earth speaks to those who listen," she had said, and now Koda hears it. A plan forming as clear as the river's flow. He will not fight with arrows or fists, but with the wisdom of his people, the kind that bends like a willow and endures like stone. Koda and Juanita work through the night, moving like shadows across the valley's edge. They carve false animal tracks in the dirt, deep and chaotic, as if a great herd fled in terror. They light small fires in the distance, sending smoke signals that twist into eerie shapes against the stars, whispering of curses and spirits. Juanita, her eyes bright with determination, scatters feathers and bones in patterns that mimic ancient warnings, her Cheyenne knowledge blending with Koda's Lakota heart. By dawn, the valley feels alive with an unsettling power, its willows swaying as if guarding secrets too heavy for outsiders to bear. Koda kneels by a tree, whispering a prayer to the ancestors, asking for strength to protect their resting place. When the settlers arrive, their confidence crumbles. The Baron, his face tight with unease, stares at the strange tracks. The smoke curling like ghosts, the bones glinting in the morning light. Whispers spread among his men, tales of cursed lands and vengeful spirits. One man swears he saw a shadow move in the willows, another claims the wind spoke his name. Fear takes root deeper than greed, and the Baron's shouts cannot hold them. The settlers flee their wagons, rattling in panic, leaving the valley untouched. Its sacred mounds serene under the rising sun. Koda watches from a hill, Juanita at his side, her hand brushing his in a quiet moment of shared triumph. The valley is safe, not by blood, but by the cunning of a listener who heard the earth's truth. Back at the Lakota camp, Koda seeks Tala, his heart heavy with the weight of what he has done and what he must tell her. He finds her in her teepee, lying on a bed of blankets, her breath shallow, her face peaceful despite the illness claiming her. The firelight dances across her features, and Koda kneels beside her, the willow pendant gleaming against his chest. Tala's eyes open, and a smile spreads soft and radiant as she sees the man he has become. "You heard it?" she whispers, her voice a fragile thread. "You heard the willow." Koda nods, tears welling, and takes her hand, feeling the warmth of a grandmother who saw his worth when he could not. Tala's breath slows, and with a final sigh she slips away, her spirit joining the ancestors under a sky she loved. Koda bows his head, his tears falling to the earth, a silent promise to carry her wisdom forward. The camp gathers at dusk, the air thick with grief and hope. Koda stands before his people. Matto at his side, the weight of their shared past hanging between them, the tribe knows of Matto's betrayal, his desperate act to save his sister, and whispers of judgment ripple through the crowd. Koda raises his hand, his voice steady, carrying the strength of Tala's lessons. Matto made a mistake, he says, his eyes meeting his friends, but he also saved me, saved us, when he could have turned away. I forgave him, and I ask you to do the same. We are not perfect, but we are family. He places a hand on Matto's shoulder, and the tribe's silence breaks into murmurs of understanding, then nods of agreement. Matto's sister, recovering in a nearby teepee, weeps with gratitude, and the camp feels whole again, bound by mercy and love. Juanita steps forward, her Cheyenne spirit, a light in the gathering dark. She announces her choice to stay with the Lakota, her eyes lingering on Koda with a warmth that speaks of a future unwritten but full of promise. The tribe cheers, their voices rising like a song, honoring Tala's legacy and the valley they will protect. Together, Koda looks out at his people, the pendant, a steady weight against his heart, and feels a peace he has not known since he was a child. He is no longer the restless hunter, adrift in loss, but a man rooted in his purpose, a listener who heard the call of the land and answered. The valley stands serene, its willows swaying gently, its mounds untouched by greed. Wood. Koda walks its paths in the days that follow, feeling the ancestors' presence in every rustling leaf, every whisper of wind. He thinks of Tala, of her smile as she passed, of the faith she placed in him when he doubted himself. Koda did not just save the valley, he saved himself, his friend, and the heart of his people, weaving their stories into the earth's eternal song. The Lakota gather around campfires, their voices carrying Tala's wisdom, Matto's redemption, and Koda's courage, a legacy that will endure as long as the willows stand. The Dakota plains glow under the soft light of dawn. But Koda's heart beats with urgency as he stands with Juanita and a small group of Lakota scouts near the hidden valley. The settlers, driven by their baron's greed, are ready to invade the sacred land, their wagons heavy with tools to rip the earth apart. Koda holds the willow pendant, its warmth anchoring him and Tala's teachings, hum in his soul like a quiet song. The earth speaks to those who listen, she had said, and now Koda hears it, a plan as clear as the river's path. He will not meet greed with blood, but with the wisdom of his people, a strength that bends like a willow and endures like the hills. Koda and Juanita move through the night silent as shadows along the valley's edge. They carve false tracks in the dirt, deep and wild, as if a great herd fled in fear. They kindle distant fires, sending smoke signals that curl into strange shapes against the stars, whispering of spirits and curses. Juanita, her eyes fierce with purpose, scatters feathers and bones in patterns that echo ancient warnings, her Cheyenne knowledge weaving seamlessly with Koda's Lakota heart. By morning, the valley feels alive with an eerie power, its willows swaying as if guarding secrets too sacred for outsiders. Koda kneels by a tree, his voice low, praying to the ancestors for the strength to protect their resting place. When the settlers arrive, their boldness falters. The Baron, his jaw tight, stares at the chaotic tracks, the ghostly smoke, the bones gleaming in the sunlight. Whispers ripple among his men, tales of haunted lands and vengeful spirits. One swears he saw a figure in the willows, another claims the wind carried a warning. Fear overtakes greed, and the Baron's commands cannot hold them. The settlers flee their wagons, clattering in haste, leaving the valley untouched, its sacred mounds serene under the new day. Koda watches from a ridge, Juanita beside him, her hand grazing his in a quiet moment of shared victory. The valley is safe for now, saved not by war, but by the cunning of a listener who heard the earth's truth. Back at the Lakota camp, Koda seeks Tala, his heart heavy with triumph and the need to share it with her. He finds her in her teepee, resting on blankets, her breath faint, her face calm despite the illness stealing her life. The firelight dances across her weathered skin, and Koda kneels beside her, the willow pendant shining against his chest. Tala's eyes flutter open, and a smile blooms gentle and radiant as she sees the man he has become. "You heard it," she whispers, her voice a fragile thread. "You heard the willow." Koda nods, tears rising, and clasps her hand, feeling the warmth of a grandmother who believed in him when he could not believe in himself. Tala's breath slows, and with a final peaceful sigh, she slips away. Her spirit joining the ancestors under the sky she cherished, Koda bows his head, his tears falling to the earth, a silent vow to honor her forever. At dusk, the camp gathers the air thick with sorrow and strength. Koda stands before his people, Matto at his side, the shadow of betrayal still lingering between them. The tribe knows of Matto's act, his desperate choice to save his sister, and murmurs of judgment stir the crowd. Koda raises his hand, his voice steady, carrying Tala's wisdom like a torch. "Matto stumbled," he says, meeting his friend's eyes, "but he also saved me, saved us, when he could have walked away. I forgave him, and I ask you to do the same. We are not flawless, but we are family." He rests a hand on Matto's shoulder, and the tribe's silence softens into nods of understanding. Then quiet agreement, Matto's sister, healing in a nearby teepee, weeps with relief, and the camp feels whole again, bound by compassion and love. Juanita steps forward, her Cheyenne spirit a beacon in the fading light. She declares her choice to stay with the Lakota, her gaze lingering on Koda with a warmth that hints at a shared tomorrow. The tribe cheers their voices, rising like a prayer, honoring Tala's legacy and the valley they will guard together. Koda looks at his people, the pendant a steady weight against his heart, and feels a peace he thought lost forever. He is no longer the restless hunter adrift in grief, but a man rooted in purpose, a listener who answered the land's call. Yet as the firelight flickers, Koda's eyes drift to the horizon where the settler's world looms a shadow that will return. The valley is safe today, but the fight to protect their way of life stretches far beyond these plains. In the days that follow, Koda walks the valley's paths, the willows whispering with every step, the ancestors' presence alive in the rustling leaves and gentle wind. He thinks of Tala, of her smile as she passed, of the faith she placed in him when he doubted his worth. He knows the settlers may come again, their hunger for land, a tide that never fully recedes. But Koda is not afraid. Tala's teachings, Matto's redemption, and Juanita's courage have woven a strength in him that will not break. Koda did not just save the valley, he saved himself, his friend, and the heart of his people, planting their stories in the earth's eternal embrace. Around campfires, the Lakota sing of Tala's wisdom of forgiveness and of a young man who learned to listen their voices, a promise to stand firm no matter what shadows tomorrow brings.